Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga, and welcome to Soft Flow Yoga. Thanks for joining me. In this class, we're going to be practicing a pose that's called Half Moon Pose, which is a wonderful balancing posture, which means we'll be working our legs, and actually our hips too. So let's get started. So you'll need some props. I would really highly recommend a couple of yoga blocks, some nice firm stackable yoga blocks, or if you don't have yoga blocks, some hardbound books, 2 or 3, maybe encyclopedias or dictionaries that you can stack up, because this will help with the balancing portion of our practice. And you might want to have a nice soft pillow that you can sit on or use for your Shavasana practice, and a soft blanket or a soft blanket. I like to use this for kneeling, just to protect knees and hands. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and begin. Go ahead and sit on your comfortable pillow or folded blanket, and we'll begin our practice. First, you want to feel the lengthening of your spine. Just sit up as tall as you can, and then take a nice full deep breath in, filling up your lungs, and exhale through your mouth. Nice sigh. Let's do that again. Nice full breath in, exhale for the release. Good, and just settle into slow, steady breaths as we get reacquainted with our breathing. A reminder that breath is the foundation of our practice. We like to start here. It's a wonderful tool just to bring us to this moment. Yoga is really about being more aware of our own bodies, minds, spirits. You're welcome to keep your eyes opened. If they are open, just gaze softly downward or forward so your eyelids might drop a little bit. Or you can just close your eyes and just continue your journey inside. As you're breathing, notice how your body is responding to your breath. The rise and fall of your chest, your shoulders, your belly. Listen to the sound of your breath. So if you breathe quietly, see if you can turn up the volume of your breath. Good. Just stay in this moment. Feel the body and your mind begin to ease and relax. In a moment, we'll add a very simple movement. I like to consider this our breathing meditation, coming to stillness and getting mindful with the breath. Good. Let's take 3 more breaths here in stillness. We'll add our movement. When you're ready, inhale and extend your arms out across the room, continuing the breath in as your arms float all the way up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, extend your arms out with good effort, reaching across the room, finishing the exhale as the arms come back down to your side. Do that again. A nice full breath in, extending the arms out, then all the way up. You might even tip your chin up, your eyes upward. Then exhale, look forward as your arms come back down, finishing this cycle of breath. Now just go ahead and continue to move and breathe at your own pace. Don't worry if you're not moving with me, because you don't have to. Just keep your eyes closed perhaps, and just follow your own pace of breath as your arms go up and down. But continue to pay attention now to the sensations that are arising in your body. Just as we are paying attention to the breath, we're just noticing how the body is responding. The shoulders, the chest, the belly, rising and falling with each inhale and exhale. Now, noticing the lengthening through the arms, the sides of your body, the energy in your hands, the movement in your shoulders. Very good. Finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. Take your time, and when you're complete, just let the arms rest down by your side or in your lap, and return to the sensation of breath. As you're holding still, you might even just continue to feel how the body is responding to breath. Here you might even inhale and just feel the breath rising to fill your lungs. And as you exhale, draw your belly button in towards your spine. Just a light pull feeling here, connecting to your center body. Try that again. A nice full breath in, sitting up tall, filling up your lung space. Exhale, draw belly button in. Very good. Do that one more time on your own. Let's introduce some more movement here, a back bend and a forward fold. So if your legs are crossed here, you might want to uncross the legs and move into cobbler's pose or bound angle pose. Bound angle pose. Why do we call it that? So bound because we're holding on to your ankles, your feet, your toes, or even just holding on to your shins. That's the binding part, holding on. And the angle part, of course, is just the bend in the knees. So bound angle pose, sitting up tall here. So you want to inhale and just feel the continued lengthening of the spine. You're still filling up the lungs. As you exhale, draw belly button in towards spine. We're going to add a little motion. Just lead with your heart and chin. Just hinge forward a little bit. It doesn't have to be too far, and you certainly don't have to move too fast. And I just moved a little bit. You can see the slight angle in my upper body now. Now I can certainly feel this in my inner legs, a nice stretch. So I could potentially just stay here. I don't feel like I'm overstretching. It feels comfortable actually. I can just hold this for a moment. I'm gonna go a little bit deeper. Nice full breath in, exhale. I'm just hinging a little bit more. Again, not overdoing this. In soft flow, we like to really pay attention to not going too far or too deep into our postures. You don't necessarily have to go 100% into the pose, even if you could. We're trying to actually relax the body, soften up our poses and our sequences, and only move into our poses to about 60 or 70%, or even less than that. So for me, this feels just right. Now you certainly can round your spine, which actually could take you a little deeper, but without compromising the depth. So I just let my chin drop a little bit, my back is naturally rounded, and I just fold it a little bit more. And I don't necessarily feel like I raise the percentage of how deep I went into the posture, because I still feel quite comfortable here, feels good, I don't feel overstretched. Let's take 3 more breaths. So we just did our forward fold, now we'll create a back bend. So we're going to come back up. Now you could just kind of pull your way back up, but let's re-extend the spine. First, just tip the chin up. That'll start to flatten the back, and if you need a little assistance to rise back up, just place your hands on the floor and then come back up here. Now you can bring your hands behind you, just prop yourself up onto your fingertips. Roll the shoulders back, tip the chin up a little bit, and it starts to open the chest and heart space. Now as we inhale, just press into the floor. Feel the energy in your arms, breathing in to fill up your lungs. Nice expansive breath. The same exhale of drawing belly button in towards spine. Now the sensations you might experience here, since we're still in cobbler's pose, is that the legs or knees might drop open a little bit more. And that's mainly because you're pushing down into the floor with the hands, allowing the torso to lift up a little bit, up out of the pelvis. Not a whole lot, but just minimally enough so the legs and hips can open up a little bit more. All right, so another breath in, pressing into the earth with the fingertips. Feel the energy in your arms. Breath rising, filling up your lungs. Exhale, pull belly button in, and one more sensation of squeezing the shoulder blades together behind you. Nice opening of the body. 2 more breaths right here. And when you're complete, just lower your chin. You can walk your hands toward yourself here and just return to a nice tall cobbler's pose. From here, let's move to our hands and knees. So carefully manipulate your body to come to hands and knees. And this is where you might want to have something soft underneath you, like a blanket or a towel, or even double up on your mat so you have some cushioning underneath you. And so we're going to be here on our hands and knees, moving into our cat and cow sequence. Starting with cow, which is a back bend. You'll inhale, tip your chin up, looking forward. Even feel like your heart is moving forward. At the same time, your pelvis is tipping back, the belly drops, and you create this back bend sense. Then exhale, let's tuck the pelvis under. It rounds the spine. Pull belly button up towards spine and chin to chest. Nice broadening of the back. That's an exhale, cat pose. And just continue this flow. Inhale, tip the pelvis back. Feel the back bend. Heart opens, look forward. Exhale, pull belly button up towards spine. Tuck the pelvis under, chin to chest, rounded back body. Now just continue at your own pace. I'm going kind of slow here, so you might be going a little bit faster than I am. Whatever feels good here. You want to feel this movement through the back body, the undulation of the spine, and as best as you can, the rocking of the pelvis forward and back. Go ahead and finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. And just pause here in this neutral tabletop posture. Now, one thing that can occur when we're in a pose like this, we're in this force flexed sensation with the hands, the wrist can get a little fatigued. So I like to take a moment to rest the hands. So you might want to tuck your toes, walk your hands toward your knees as your hips start to sit back, just enough where you can take the weight off of your hands like so. And then counter position the wrists here, and even a light pulse. I like to gently pulse the tops of the hands into my blanket here. Maybe 2 or 3 times, not much, just gently. And then maybe some circles of the wrists, even wiggling your fingers, whatever feels good for you to help relieve any tension in the wrists. Now, before we move into our downward facing dog, I want to get back onto our hands and knees and add a pose of lifting the leg, because one of the posture that we're working on today, half moon, involves a leg extension. I want to give you some ideas on how we can work that. Or we can keep the blanket here, back onto our hands and knees. I'm kind of shifting my weight over to my right side, my right hand and my right knee. I'm extending my left leg back, just lifting the knee off the mat, straightening the leg and keeping the toes on the ground. Now, while I'm here, I'm just going to take that cat-cow pose. I'm going to inhale, just look up, exhale, and kind of round the back. Just like this, and just hold this sensation. So I want to create as much space as I can in my low back, because I'm going to be lifting the leg, and I don't want to put any compression in the back. I'm shifting my weight forward a little bit more into the hands so I can find the balance of just picking up the foot behind there. I'm going to flex the foot. Even turn the toes outward a little bit. And just notice the sensation in your thigh, your hip, And by flexing the foot, we add energy to the leg, engaging the muscle so we can actually lift it into the air. All right, that's pretty dynamic. I'm going to turn the toes down, set the toes down, and bring the knee back down. All right, let's get off the hands again. Walk the hands back, sit back, and relieve the wrists as you need to as we get set up for the other side. Whenever you're ready, back out onto the hands. Shifting weight over to left hand and left knee. I'm extending the right leg back now. So the knee is lifted, straight leg, toes on the floor for balance. Cat, cow, it starts with cow. Inhale to look forward, it kind of creates this back bend. You can see how my body is shaped in this pose. And then exhaling, I'm kind of lifting the hips, pulling belly button up towards spine, chin to chest. Now the back didn't really round, but I did create a little bit more spaciousness in the low back. I'm shifting forward just enough so I can actually pick up the right foot. I can feel my glutes engage, the whole leg's engaged, flex the foot, and then even turn the toes out a little bit. So there's sensation in the entire leg, the outer thigh, the hip, certainly the foot. Again, it's going to help us engage the muscles to lift the leg into the air. Now, turning the toes down, set the toes down, even bring the knee back down, and we can go ahead and relieve the wrists one last time. Alrighty, well done. So remembering that sensation as we get into our half moon pose eventually. Alrighty, let's move off of the blanket, set it to the side, come back out to hands and knees. We're going to set this up just the same way. So first, let's step the hands forward. So now your wrists are out from underneath the shoulders. Spread out your fingers pretty wide here too. Nice strong base. I like to kind of lean into the hands, pressing the palms into the mat so they stretch open. Tuck your toes. One more cat-cow. Inhale, create the back bend here. Exhale, round into cat pose. Again, that nice spaciousness in the back body. Make sure toes are tucked. With an exhale, lift the knees off the mat, send your hips into the air, and just allow your chest and your head to simply sink a little bit between the arms. Keep the knees very bent. Relax your head. You might even nod yes a few times. Make sure your hands are still pressing very strongly into the mat so your arms are straight. Now look straight down and just walk your feet to the center of your mat and just to a place where your feet are flat on the mat here. And then just slide your fingertips towards your toes. Let's just hold here for a few seconds just so you can feel this stretch through the backs of the legs. You're going to inhale and then slide your hands up to your shins or knees. Pause here when we're about halfway up. So the back is flat here like you're a table. Now be sure your feet are firm on the ground. Nice and solid. Knees are soft so the thighs are naturally engaged here. Even your hamstrings are naturally engaged to help you hold the posture. Also experience the extension of the spine, a long torso. We're parallel to the floor. You want to have a sensation like your hips and tailbone are moving to the back of the room. The top of your head moving towards the front of the room. Now we're starting to shift the weight back into the heels, preparing to stand now. Bend your knees, lower your hips, lifting the chest. We're going to pause here about 45 degrees, feeling the thighs really fire up. Arms out to the side. Drive heels down into the floor to straighten your legs so you can stand up tall, reaching all the way up to feel the good stretch through the entire body. Exhale, arms return down to your side. Excellent. Here's our first standing posture. While we're here, you might even circle the shoulders a little bit. Circle them backward and forward. I like to shrug the shoulders too. Just lift the shoulders up toward your earlobes and then press them down far away from the earlobes. One more time. Lift and down. Good. Let's do another half salute to the sun, which is starting and standing, forward fold. We're going to come back to that half forward fold and then come back up. We're going to do something a little different in our forward fold, our half forward fold with the feet. And I'm going to be turning forward when we do that. Okay, but for now, turning sideways, but we're all facing the front of the mat. Here we go. Inhale, extend both arms up. Nice extension through the entire body. Exhale, spread your wings, arms out to the side, bend your knees, send your hips back like you're sitting back into an imaginary chair. So there's that 45-degree angle again, but we're going to continue to come down. Just lower the hands and arms, and just feel how gravity draws you downward. Now, if your books or blocks are nearby, just bring them in and have them right in front of your feet. Slide your hands up to the shins or knees. Inhale to get here, and exhale, hold. Again, just feel the solid connection to the earth with the feet. You don't feel too weighted towards your toes. You're not sitting back into your heels, but you found a good center. Feel free to put a good bend in the knees here. Notice how the legs are engaged. Now, what you could do, just to help with some balance, is either the hands can be on your knees or thighs, or they could be on your books or blocks. I'm going to use my blocks here for a moment. I'm going to move my block so you can see my feet. I'm going to mirror you here because I want you to turn one foot in. Let's start with the left foot. So turning the left foot inward a little bit and just kind of lean into that foot and even send the hip out to the side. You might even feel a little stretch through this side of the body. So the leg turned in. I'm going to call it an internal rotation. Hip pushing out to the side. And just use your books or blocks for a little balance. Let's come back to center, toes pointing forward, and we'll do the right side. I'm just turning the toes in. Basically, I'm really turning the heel outward. That's just a little easier. And then kind of sitting out to that side. A little weight out there, a little stretch through the outer hip and glute. Okay, this is a long time in this half forward fold. Let's get ready to stand. Okay, let's lean back into the heels. You can even bring your hands to your knees or thighs. Push into the thighs as the heels push into the floor and stand up. Let's get nice and tall. Extend the arms all the way up into the air. Reach and stretch. Exhale, arms down to your side. Excellent. Let's go back to those circles. Very good. While we're still standing, let's go ahead and move right into a balancing pose. Let's do tree pose. And since our blocks are here, let's use the blocks. I like to call them a pedestal for this particular pose. So what I'm going to do is just stand right between your books or blocks. So bring them in pretty close like so. Nice and tall. And do an outer rotation with the arms so your palms are facing forward, just to get a nice opening up through the chest in our mountain pose. Or doing tree pose, which is a balancing posture. We'll start by softening the knees. Good. Shift your weight over to your right foot. So you feel strong in the right leg. I'm mirroring you. We're going to get nice and tall. Breathe in, fill up your lungs. Exhale, pull belly button in. I'm going to peel my left heel off the floor, picking up the foot. I'm going to set it on my block here or my pedestal, and then turn that knee outward. All right, so this is our tree pose variation here. So we get a nice hip opener here, knee turned out to produce that hip opener, and slightly balanced because we have the block. Now, if you don't have a block, you can even just place the toes on the floor like so, and the heel just kind of resting on the ankle of the other foot. And let's add the arms. Inhale, extend the arms up into the air. Exhale, continue to pull the belly button in towards spine. So this is our variation of tree pose. We're doing this on purpose because we want to experience a nice hip opener here. Knee pointing mostly to the side of the room. Because in our half moon pose, you're going to feel something very similar. Just keep the arms extended. I'm going to turn my left knee forward, like so. I'm still on the block, but step off the block, heel all the way down onto the floor, balanced on 2 feet, and then relax your arms. Very good. If you need to shake that out, go ahead and do that. even the wrists, and even the right foot since you were standing on that. Let's do the other side. Nice and tall. Turn the palms forward, shoulders slightly rolled back, proud open chest and heart. Soft knees, shifting weight over to the left foot since we're balancing on the left foot. Inhale, get nice and tall. Exhale, pull belly button in. Peeling right heel up off the floor. Picking up the foot, just going to place it on my block or pedestal. Turning the knee out, that's the hip opener in our variation of tree pose. Because tree would be here, placing foot on the inside of the standing leg. But using the block just takes that action of the balancing part out of the equation. So this helps us. Inhale, extend the arms into the air. Exhale, draw belly button in. We'll hold here for a moment. And just notice all the sensations in your body. From top to bottom, hands active, arms straight and strong, reaching up. Notice your shoulders, sides of the body, hips. We got a nice hip opener with the right knee pointing to the side of the room. Nice strong standing left leg rooted into the earth through the foot. Let's keep the arms as they are. I'm going to turn my right knee forward, step off the block, onto the ground, heel to the floor, balance now on 2 feet, arms relax down to your side. Shake all that loose. Wonderful. All right, let's move through a variation of a Warrior 1 and Warrior 2, which will continue to open up through the hips. All right, I'm going to carefully fold and bend so I can move my blocks out of the way. And we'll all begin standing near the top of the mat. Here we go. Same thing, we're starting with soft knees. Shifting weight now into your right foot again, root. Inhale, nice and tall. It's the same setup. Long spine, exhale, pull belly button in, engage. Lean forward a little bit so you can feel your right foot kind of grip your mat. Alrighty, then peel the left heel up like we just did earlier with the tree pose, but this time you're just going to tap or step the foot back, okay, until it just naturally stops. So right about here. We're going to do an outer rotation of that leg. I'm just mimicking it with my arm and plant the heel down. So I'm finding center, grounded on 2 feet. Now we're just separated. Place your hands on your hips. Feel as if you're trying to push your pelvis down. At the same time, feel tall and lengthened through your torso and spine. That's going to put a lot of space or more space around the belt line. So you can start to turn to face forward. Just be sure your right knee, good bend of the knee, and your toes are pointing forward. As we're facing forward, inhale, extend the arms up into the sky. Exhale, bend elbows to about 90 degrees. This is a variation of Warrior 1. Okay, 1 because there isn't too much distance between the feet and the arms are bent. We're going to transition to a Warrior 2. Let's go ahead and inhale to extend the arms back up into the air. Exhale, arms come out and down, and then hands to hips. We need to put weight back into this front foot, releasing the weight from the back foot, lifting the heel so I can just take a step back, just creating a little bit more distance between the feet. And if you notice, at least with my foot, my toes are kind of turned inward. Once I get into my Warrior 2, I'll want to turn the foot outward. That's going to help with the hip opener. So let's want to be mindful of that, paying attention to, again, a hip opener action. And at the same time, the knee and toes are going to stay pointing forward. That's important. All right, so we're facing forward. Hands were on hips, correct? Well, inhale, let's re-extend the arms up into the air. Exhale, start turning your torso towards the left side of the room. Knee is still pointing forward. Don't let the knee follow you. Arms come down to parallel. Here. Now, this is where I want to kind of get on my heel and just spin the toes out. That's my hip opener on this side. The hip opener on the right side is just maintaining that stability, knee pointing forward. So hopefully some opening here, arms parallel to the floor. Now typically we would turn the head towards right hand, but in this case I'm going to have you turn your head towards the back hand. You'll know why once we get into our half moon pose, because this pose, Warrior 2, is actually kind of a preview and a nice setup towards our half moon posture. All right, go ahead and turn your head so it's neutral, and let's come out of the posture. Let's go ahead and just relax the arms. Bring hands to hips perhaps. We'll start to turn forward, leaning into this front foot. I'm going to spin on my heel, turning the foot forward so I can continue to turn the face forward. More weight in this front foot, lifting the back heel, a little push to step forward up to the top of the mat. Here we go. Let's go ahead and inhale, extend the arms up into the air. Just to finish the posture, exhale, arms down to your side. So we just basically just stepped forward, just took the pose in reverse. All right, other side, soft knees, shift weight into left foot. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, draw belly button in for security. Lean forward, little weight into the toes, grip the mat with your toes. Peel right heel off the floor and start tapping it back until it naturally stops. We'll get an outer rotation of that leg so we can plant the heel into the floor, shifting so you're balanced on 2 feet. Hands on hips, push down, lift torso up, make space in the midline so you can turn to face forward. Check in with alignment, left knee is bent, knee and toes pointing forward, and that's exactly how they'll stay even as you transition to Warrior 2. But first, Warrior 1. Inhale, reaching into the sky. Exhale, bend elbows to 45 degrees, our variation of Warrior 1. Just to get a sense of a light lunge in the body with arms in the air. Let's get ready to transition to our Warrior 2. Inhale, extend the arms straight up. Exhale, arms come down, bring hands to hips. We need to shift weight into the front foot again. Release the weight from the back foot, lifting the heel, and then just step back. That's it. Inhale, arms go up into the sky. As we exhale, we're turning torso to the right. Make sure the left knee and toes don't go anywhere, especially the knee is still pointing forward. Once I've landed the pose, I need to reposition this back leg to get that hip opener. So I'm just on my heel and just kind of spinning the toes out, and there we are. Okay, same sensation, hip opener, both sides. Now you can start by looking over the left hand, which is more common for our Warrior 2. I'm going to have you turn, however, your head to the back arm. All right, you can go ahead and turn your head so it's neutral. Let's go ahead and bring the hands back into the hips and just kind of take this into reverse. I'm turning to face forward a little bit, putting some weight into the front foot, spinning the toes and the back foot forward, rising up onto the toes, still facing forward, and step completely forward. I really broke that down. And inhale, reaching both arms up into the sky. Exhale, arms down to your side to finish that whole sequence. All right, let's just check in with the body. Roll the shoulders forward and back a few times, even shake out the wrists. And let's move through a sun salutation, making our way down to the floor. Let's do another leg stretch, and then we'll get into the standing balancing pose of our half moon. Here we go. Let's start with an inhale, extending both arms up into the sky. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, sit back and down, slowly coming down. Your chest or belly will come down to your thighs. Let gravity take over. Let the hands drop, let your head drop. Feel that nice pull and stretch through your back body. Inhale, slide your hands up to your shins or knees. There's our halfway lift. Now on this exhale, fold all the way down. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Get low so you can place your hands or fingers on the floor. Weight into the hands so you can step both feet back. Take a few steps to the back end of your mat. Here, lowering the hips to about shoulder level will be in plank pose. Still pushing firmly into the floor with the hands, strong arms. Breathe in. This exhale, bend your knees quite a bit, send your hips up into the air, your chest and head sink between the hands. We're stepping forward a little bit, just a little bit, adjusting my hands, taking them a little wider as well. Hips nice and high. Here's our downward facing dog. All right, you're going to step your left foot
to center on the mat to establish some balance. Pick up your right foot, and then inhale, extend your right leg straight back behind you. Okay, think of what we did earlier on our hands and knees where we flex the foot. In this case, you can just point your toes and just feel that little extra lift. Feel how the leg engages. As you exhale, bend the right knee quite a bit and bring the knee underneath you towards your chin. As you shift your whole upper body forward so your shoulders are now over your wrists, and then set the right set of toes onto the floor. The heel will be lifted. Set the left knee down. Okay, we need to pull the weight away from the hands because we're going to use the right hand, which I freed up, reach back, grabbing my foot, my ankle, and just stepping the foot higher. This is just in case you couldn't step the foot up to the mat on its own if it landed short. Replant the hands, relift the left knee, turn that left foot out. That's an outer rotation. We need to put weight into that foot so everything pulls back. I even like to step the hands back just to ensure I get a lot of weight in that back foot. Right knee and toes are pointing forward. Climb up to the thigh here with the hands. Push into the middle of the thigh to help you extend spine. We're working our way to our second version of Warrior One. If you're able, free the arms and reach out to the side. Inhale, rise up. Reach arms into the air. Exhale, just kind of settle into the lunge. Notice a little stretch to the hip flexor on this left side. We certainly want that. Breathe in. Exhale, here's that turn of the torso towards the left side of the room. Arms come down to parallel. We're going to spin that foot out. There's our hip opener. Here, hips opened. And go ahead and first turn your head towards the right hand and a slow rotation of the head and neck to the left hand. And then turn it back. We're going to take side angle. Reach forward, reaching out over the right leg like so. Rotate the arms. Reach down. I like to turn the palms open like so and open the palms. Now we're going to do that same sensation of looking. Now we're going to look down at the right hand. Gently, slowly turn your head to look up past the left hand. Look familiar? Sound familiar? This is also getting us ready for our half moon pose. Turn to look neutral. Let's bring this left hand down. Hands to thigh. Leaning into this front foot as best as you can. You might want to do this. I like to bend the knee, a little push, step forward a little bit. Okay, then turn that whole leg forward so I can easily fold. Bring the hands to the ground, plant them firmly. So I can slide the right foot back to meet the other. Lower the hips to shoulder level, right about there, plank pose. Breathe in. Exhale, bend knees, send hips into the sky. Return to downward facing dog so we can do that same sequence on the other side. I'm adjusting my feet and my hands so I can settle in nicely into the pose. Now, stepping right foot to center. Pick up left foot. Inhale, extend the left leg back. Doesn't have to lift high, just straight as can be. Maybe point your toes or flex the foot. Give it a little extra lift. Feel the energy in the leg. Inhale. Exhale, bend this left knee. Bring the left knee in underneath you towards your chest, shifting forward. Shoulders over wrists, set the toes on the floor, heel lifted. Right knee on the floor. Again, this is just in case you could not get the foot all the way up to the top of the mat. I'm pulling the weight away so I can free the left hand. Go get the foot, place it nearer to the left hand here. Relift right knee, pivot right heel to the floor, put weight in that back foot by stepping the hands back, pull the hips back. Getting your torso well aligned over this front thigh, knee and toes pointing forward. Hands up to the thigh, kind of crawling up the body. Push into mid-thigh to help you extend spine. There we are. Let's take the arms out, then inhale, rise up, reach up into the air. Exhale, settle into the pose. Notice now what's happening on the right leg, in the hip area, in the hip flexor space. Here we go, transition, breathe in. Exhale, turn torso towards the right. Left knee doesn't go anywhere. Arms come down to parallel. Spin the right leg out as needed. There's our hip opener. Turn head towards left hand. Slowly turn head towards right hand. A nice movement through the neck, that part of the spine. Turn to face forward again. Side angle. Follow the left arm forward. Angled upper body. Then rotate the arm so now left hand is reaching down. I like to turn the palm so it's facing outward. Right hand reaching up. Palm is also facing outward. Look down at your left hand. Gently turn head to look up at your right hand. Head to neutral. Let's bring the right hand down. Hands to thighs. Kind of leaning forward. I like to bend the right knee so I can give myself a little push to shorten the distance between the feet. Turn so the heel is lifted. That way it's easy for me to bring my hands to the floor. Palms flat, slide, left foot back, plank. Right here, hold. Let's bring knees to the floor. Sit back briefly into hero. Off the hands, but then immediately off the heels onto the ground. Let's swing the legs around to the front. Let's keep the legs straight. We're going to do a little leg stretch here. Let's flex the feet to engage the legs, but also engage and lengthen the legs. Place your hands on the floor by your hips, pushing into the ground to get nice and tall. Let's see if we can roll the shoulders back, squeezing shoulder blades together. Nice long neck, your gaze is forward. Just hold here. This is called staff pose. We're going to take a slight fold with this. But first, just straight up and down, a nice L shape, 90 degrees. We're inhaling, getting tall. The exhale, you're pulling belly button in. Now to fold forward, let's try this. I'm softening the pose a little bit. I'm really just softening my hands. I'm going to take my hands behind me. We did this a little bit earlier. Okay, propped up onto your fingertips, both hands. Okay, even slightly in so the elbows bend. Push to help extend spine, and then push again to send heart forward. Does that make sense? Okay, so you're just, the fingers and arms are keeping you propped in place as you start to hinge forward a little bit. You can even step the hands a little bit closer towards your body. Elbows will bend. Push to extend the spine, lift up. Another push into the floor with the fingers, exhaling to go a little deeper. Now I went beyond my 70%. All right, I'm more about 80% here, so I'm going to lighten this up a little bit. I'm going to feel a nice extension through the legs and even through the spine, but it is okay to round your spine. All right, I'm just softening, okay, so I can rise back up. Let's bring the hands around to the front. Let's come back to cobbler's pose just to take that stretch out of the legs. I'm just bringing the soles of the feet together, bound angle. So we're just holding on to the feet or shins or toes and sitting up nice and tall. Alrighty, I think we've broken down what we need to start getting into our half moon pose. And again, you'll need those books or blocks handy. All right, let's maneuver our way back to a standing position. So I'm just going to kind of lean to the side and swing the legs around to the back so I'm on my hands and knees. Let's step the hands forward a little bit, spread out your fingers, palms nice and flat. Push into the ground, flat palms, straight arms. Tuck toes, take cat-cow. Inhale to cow pose, that's the back bend. Exhale into cat pose, rounded spine. Hold cat, lift knees off the floor, send hips into the air, chest sinks between the arms, downward facing dog. Take a few steps forward with the feet to the center of your mat. Feet are flat on the ground, slide your fingertips towards toes. There's our forward fold. We're getting another nice stretch through the backs of the legs. Shift your weight back into your heels, bend your knees to lower your hips. Climb up the legs again, hands to knees or thighs. Push so we can extend the spine here to about 45 degrees. As you're able, arms out to the side, standing up tall, reaching all the way up into the air. And exhale, arms down to your side. Alrighty.
Okay, now let's break down that balancing pose. We are standing on one leg while the other leg is extending out back behind us, and we're opening up very much like our Warrior Two and our side angle pose. Alrighty, and again, we like to use our books or blocks. So I'm going to carefully fold and bend and bring my 2 blocks up to the top of the mat. I'm even going to take one of my blocks and turn it up a little higher, just so I have a little bit more height, and standing directly behind the blocks. Now you're welcome just to watch or go ahead and practice with me. Here we go. I'm going to inhale and extend the arms up into the air to create length in the body. Exhale, spread wings, fold forward, so a good hinge at the hips, bending the knees as they come down. And I'm just going to land right here at the blocks, right there, and really rely on the stacked blocks. I'm kind of leaning into the blocks with the right hand. Now, with the foot, remember we turned the toes inward earlier? We're going to do that here. I'm going to turn my right toes in. Actually, I'm kind of turning the heel out, okay? But make sure your toes are pointing inward. Even kind of sit into that right hip like we did earlier, but we're also relying on this block. Okay, I'm leaning into it so I can pick up the left heel and start to tap this foot back. Alrighty? Now, I'm just going to pause here because we are going to balance on this front foot. This left leg is going to extend in the air, but if you want to stay here just to practice, you can even open up here. This could be your half moon today, okay? Otherwise, I'm leaning forward, weight into the block and foot, so I can pick up the left foot, flex the foot to engage the leg, lifting to perhaps parallel to the floor. Now we've got the hip opener. We turn the foot and leg in so we have the ability potentially to open up the hips here so I can face completely sideways and extend the left arm up into the air. Now remember, I had you look at your right hand looking down, but if you're able, slowly turn your head to look up past your left hand. This really challenges the balance. And then turn the head to look down at the floor. I'm bending the right knee so I can bring the left foot back down. Turning so I can bring the left hand around. A little launch so I can step the feet up to the top of the mat. So I really return to a forward fold. That's our half moon. Let's go ahead and stand, shifting weight into the heels, bend your knees, extend the spine, arms out to the side. Inhale, reverse swan dive, come all the way up, reach into the air. Exhale, arms down to your side. Very nice. How did you do? Were you able to get the leg into the air? If not, that's okay, because you can still just keep the toes balanced on the floor and just open up sideways a little bit. Well, let's do the other side. I'm actually going to turn this direction so you can see. So same thing. Stacked books or blocks. Make sure they're firm and they can support you. This could even be a table or a chair, really. Okay, mountain pose. Soft knees. Let's inhale, extend the arms all the way up. Exhale, fold forward. This left hand will land on the blocks. And just rely on the block or the seat of a chair or a table. I'm going to turn my left set of toes in. And we're doing that because it's going to help open up the hip. I'm leaning into the foot and left hand and even my left hip so I can tap this right foot back. Remember, this could be the end of your pose and you can just open up here. Otherwise, we're balancing, shifting more weight forward so I can find the balance to pick up the right foot. Flex the foot. We're trying to get it maybe parallel to the floor here. You're going to feel the outer thigh engage. Here comes the opening of the body. Because the leg is turned in, hopefully that gives us a little bit more space and ability to open up sideways and extend your arm up into the air. Take your focus down. If you look at the floor, that will help with the balance. For the challenge, slowly turn your head so you can maintain the balance as best as you can to look up past the right hand. This is really challenging for me. And then turn to look down. Okay? I'm going to bend the left knee so I can bring the right foot back down. Turn to face forward,
kind of launch myself forward, getting all 10 toes to point forward, and a nice melting sensation to a forward fold. So we made it. Let's just continue from here, make our way down to the earth to finish our practice. Inhale, slide the hands up to the shins, extending spine. Exhale, fold, hands to the floor. Walk or step the feet back, plank pose, hips at shoulder level. And then we'll just set the knees onto the floor, sit back briefly into hero, sit off to the side, and swing the legs around to the front. You want to scoot forward so you're sitting in the center of your mat. We are going to lie down. We're going to create a back bend. So you want to use your books or blocks again, so make sure they're closer to you. And then go ahead and roll down. Let's draw knees into chest. You might want to hold here for a moment and add some movement. This feels really good for some relief in the back and the hips. I make a figure 8 movement here. Feels good. And then also circle the feet. Remember all that balancing. So let's just relieve the ankles, your toes, and you can even free the hands and wiggle the wrists and fingers. All right, let's set the feet onto the floor. You can take them wider than the hips if that feels best for you today. Make sure you can grab your books or blocks. Inhale, fill up your lungs. Exhale. Press feet into the floor to lift the hips as high as you can, just high enough actually to get your books or blocks underneath you. I'm just going to use one block and just turn it up a notch, right about there, and just sit. And just situate yourself so you can actually kind of rest and relax here. I like to get the shoulders a bit underneath the body, maybe palms turned up, that'll help. And we'll just pause here and just take some deep breaths. You can even take a moment to contemplate the work we did to really break down half moon pose and even all the poses that we did to get to that posture. It's a wonderful balancing position. You can feel how it involves your hips greatly. Certainly balance and leg extensions. Now we're in our supported bridge pose as we're coming closer to the end of our practice together. So we're in our closing sequence. Now I just have one block underneath me, but I want to move into an inverted pose, extending both legs into the air. But I'm going to use 2 blocks for a little bit more support. So I'm just going to lift my hips high enough to get both my blocks underneath me. This might actually be too high, we'll see. Well, maybe it'll work out fine. It certainly puts me more into a higher yet supported back bend. Now you can find the height that works for you. Then we're going to take one leg and then 2 legs into the air. Again, I want to make sure my arms, mostly my shoulders are underneath me. I'm even going to bend my elbows so my arms are at 90 degrees to push the shoulders and triceps and elbows into the floor to really support the upper body. Here, with an exhale, extend one leg up. I'm going to flex the foot. Now you could do this just one leg at a time. I'm going to do both legs. Inhale. With an exhale so I can feel the support of the body. Extend the other leg into the air, like so. Flexing the feet so the legs stay strong. So it feels like my heels are reaching for the ceiling. Now you could point your toes, even circle the ankles here, since you are seated, essentially. Okay, if you want to add some motion here. Just another leg extension. Getting upside down, inverted. All right, let's bend the knees. Carefully place the feet back down onto the floor. It's going to recreate that back bend. Pause for a moment. You can relax the arms. And then press feet into the earth to lift the hips. Even feel the glutes engage. Move your props. Carefully make your way down to the ground. Let's bring knees into chest. Maybe some more movement. Let's do a hip opener here. I like to lightly flex the feet, hold onto the knees or shins, and take the legs out. This is a variation of happy baby pose that I like to do, just to get a light stretch in the inner legs, and we're certainly working the inner legs quite a bit as we got into our half moon pose. And my arms or elbows are just resting on the floor. I like to kind of open my palms like they were trays or platters, and the legs or the knees are just resting in the hands in this posture. One more breath. We're going to finish with a twist. Let's bring the knees together, and then slowly take your knees over to your left side, down towards the floor. They don't have to touch the floor. I'm even going to use a block, if I can still reach them. Place a block on the floor so my left leg rests on that block, so I don't over-rotate here. Then extend the right arm straight up and then out to the side. And you can even turn your head to that right hand just to continue this nice neck stretch that we really have been doing throughout the practice when I was having you turn your head in those warrior two poses, the side angle poses, and then eventually the half moon pose. So we even worked our necks. A couple more breaths here. When you're complete, turn your head so you're looking straight up, so you don't strain your neck as you bring the knees back up to center. Hold here for a moment. And then we'll take the knees to the other side. I'm going to do the block again. So as I take the knees to the right, I'm placing the block on the floor so the right leg will land on the block. Extend left arm straight up and then out to the left side. The option to turn the head to the left. Noticing the sensations in the body here. Nice rotation in the spine. Some relief in the hips perhaps as well. 2 more breaths. After your second breath, return your head to neutral. Let's bring the knees back up to center. Maybe one last hug of the knees towards the body. You can set the feet down and then extend the legs out onto the floor as you make your way to Shavasana. Let the whole body relax, starting with the feet. Just notice how the feet kind of fall open or outward. Legs will relax, your hips, your back, shoulders and arms. Your head is heavy. Let your eyes go heavy too, so you might even just close your eyes. But the breath is light. Light, easy breaths in and out. Fully released and relaxed. Back to a meditative state of mind and body. Feel the body respond to the easy breathing. And although light and quiet, still listen to the sound of your breath. As always, you're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like. Even as I finish the practice and come up to seated, you're welcome to stay here. But when you are ready to move, start with breath. Just bring energy to the breath, taking a deep breath,
followed by 5 more deep breaths. And as you're taking these deep breaths, feeling energy and movement return to your body. Allow this new circulating breath to move through the entire body. Feel the movement return. Take your time. When you're ready to move, you carefully roll to one side of your body. Briefly here in this nurturing pose, use a new breath in your hands. Press and lift yourself up to seated. Maybe crossing the legs, sitting up as tall as can be, lengthen spine. Your hands can rest on your knees or in your lap, or bring hands to heart center. Wherever you are, taking one more full and complete breath. And as we come to the close of our practice, we bow together saying, Namaste.
Thank you so much for watching and participating in this yoga lesson. To help us with the channel so we can continue to bring you more content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. Namaste.